Well, I got a flat. Went downstairs with my backpack full of LiPo, ready to go for a ride. And this is what I see. I'm like, crap. I knew my tire pressure yesterday was a little low, and I kind of just rode anyway, and I rode pretty hard. It's going over 20 miles an hour down pretty rocky trails. And I guess this is what I get. It must have been a slow leak because I didn't even notice it riding yesterday. I did like 6 miles. Alright, so I just disconnected my hub motor wiring, and there's all my wire nuts. And I'm going to pull the rim off and change the tire. Alright, there we go. It's back together, and it's wired back up. Still use wire nuts because I have a new controller and a new motor on the way. So this is just temporary. Well, every e-biker knows that when they get a big square box in the mail that looks like it could fit a 26-inch rim in it, it means that you got a new hub motor, and you're usually pretty happy. This just came in, shipped from California, but it's made in China, obviously. But I'm going to bust it open and see what we get. We got a new Chinese golden motor hub kit. It's got the full-size 500-watt controller and the thumb throttle. Came with all the other stuff too, but I don't need anything but what I see here. The first thing I'm going to do is I disconnected the controller, and now I'm going to cut these connections off. First of all, they're cheap and they have a bad connection that can short and cause melting issues with the wiring, so I don't even want to mess with it. And second of all, I need to cut them off or else I can't get these nut and washers off. The main reason that I wanted to do that is to get this washer off, because I don't want this washer. I'm just going to put this on the inside, and I'll put one more like this on the outside. I have spares I'll use. Alright, so I got both of the golden motor hub kits next to each other, and obviously here's my old one, and here's my new one. The first thing I noticed when I pulled them apart is that the wiring on the new one is coming out of the different side of the motor. It comes out of the side with the gearing, and over here it does not. It comes out of the disc brake side. I don't think that's going to cause any issues, but it's just weird and I'm not used to it. Another thing that I noticed is that these little spacer washers that they make, as you can see, this old one is nice and thick. And if you size it up to the new one, it looks like they used much thinner aluminum. I'm trying to size up and find out what the differences are between the two, because this one is a 48 volt 1000 watt and this is the 36 volt 500 watt. So far they seem to be exactly the same. I'm pretty sure that the phase wiring on the 48 volt is a little bit larger, and I'm hoping that that's the only difference, is the wiring. I know a couple of years ago when I first bought this kit, I had to replace this cassette. I put a nice Shimano one on there because if you hear the differences between them, listen to this. That's a good one. Now listen to the one that comes stock. It's extremely loud, and the bearings probably are about as bad as they can get. Alright, now obviously I have some work to do because there's no disc mount on this one. And also it comes stock with one of those washer aluminum spacers. And as you can see on mine over here, I've been using the bike without it the entire time and I've had no issues. I just put one of these set washers on the inside of my frame, and I put one on the outside of my frame, and I've had zero problems. I'm not sure if that's going to be a problem or not on the new one, if I just support it on the washer. Actually, this washer doesn't seem to sit pretty good. It sits very crooked.
That's pretty weird. Another thing I noticed is that these nuts are crooked. They don't even thread on straight. Like they're warped. Like they kind of thread at an angle. So when you crank it down to your frame, only a corner of this nut is going to be holding it onto the frame because the nuts are kind of lopsided. I think they could have did a little better of a job with those. Alright, so I was right on those guesses. I mean, it says it right on the cable. The three-phase wires on the 48-volt kit are 1.5 millimeter, and the three phases on the 36-volt kit are 1.2 millimeter. So they're slightly smaller, and it looks like the Hall sensors are the same exact size. Not that that matters. But even just a side-by-side comparison, you can tell that the jacket of the 48-volt motor has a slightly larger jacket. So I really don't want to open up the motor and change the phase wires, but I may have to. Alright, the next thing I'm noticing here, on my old kit, you can see that the axle is cut flat, and then it stops right here, and it's all solid round axle. Yeah, there's a good view of it right there. That's all just solid round axle. And on the new kit, it's shaved the whole entire way flat. I don't like that at all. It's almost like, yeah, you can see where they should have stopped right here at the round part, but they kept it going. It's almost like this axle could be used for a front hub or a rear hub. It might be universal now. They just shaved it that way. And their way around it was to put these cheesy little aluminum spacers in here. They don't even mount in good. I mean, they're not flush. They wobble around. It's kind of crappy. I don't really like that.